Welcome aboard, folks. Well, another week has come and gone. Excuse me. Progress was slow due to weather and some supply chain issues. That's a joke. More on that at the end of this video. I would like to give a great big thank you to Joe from Motor City Boatworks for his kindness he's shown our little channel. Due to his exposure of our project, our subscribers have jumped over 135 in the past week. And just yesterday we passed 900. So thank you, Joe. You rock, buddy. Yesterday, I was watching my buddy Ross from Life on the Hulls, and he's also giving us a big shout out. Jesus, I nearly shat my pants. It was fun. Thank you, Roscoe. You're a legend. So in this episode, I'm advancing with the Foc'sle deck. That's up on the pointy end, and it gets messy. It issues with a drill bit that flexed and bent and caused some misalignment issues. Drilling some big holes. That's how you know you're making progress, when you're drilling big holes. But I think the results turned out okay. For a home built boat, it is what it is. Let me know what you think. So, on with the show. Okay, let's jump right into it and drill some holes. My second favorite activity next to sanding. This time we got to cut a square hole for our mooring bit post, Samson post, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's got to go in a square hole. This is sort of the standard procedure for cutting any kind of hole. First you drill a pilot hole, and for a square it's kind of easy to drill 4 holes on the corners, and then use your jigsaw to cut out the piece. Now the jigsaw is working hard here because this is going through at least 3 layers of fiberglass and 1/2 inch of marine plywood. The jigsaw blades, no matter how good they are, don't last very long. I used up one brand new blade just to cut this little 4 3/8 by 4 3/8 square hole. So this is a bit of a spoiler coming up. You're going to see me dry fit the mooring bit or Samson post, and I haven't completed it. You're going to see that in the rest of this video. Oh boy, drilling more holes. This time I'm using the bow pulpit as a template to drill the holes through the deck. And again, this is pretty tough on the hole saws. It's a lot of glass to go through. This larger hole is where the windlass will drop down its drive gear through the deck to the motor below. This oblong shaped hole is for another hose pipe for our backup anchor chain and rode. Here I'm starting to drill a pilot hole to eventually auger out this hole a little bigger to accept an 1.25 inch chunk of stainless steel as a crossbar for the mooring bit. This is where my trouble began. I didn't have a drill bit other than this 22-inch, 1/4 inch drill bit that could drill straight through the chunk of sapelli mahogany. And if you look closely, you can see that the sucker is bending, and this caused a misalignment in the pilot hole, which caused a misalignment when I begin to bore it out in the next step.
pretty radical drill bit. I picked this up at the local hardware store. It's the only 1.25" bit I could find, but man, does it chew through this stuff like butter. Go drilling through from the other side and the misaligned pilot hole, and I actually had to do a little bit of work to be able to get the stainless steel crossbar in place. This stainless steel bar is just an offcut from our rudder stock, and don't worry, it's not going to be the permanent crossbar. I had no real idea how wide I needed to make the crossbar that will go through the mooring bit, so I just multiplied the width by 3 and started from there, and it seemed the proportions seemed okay. This is an offcut from our propeller shaft that we ordered, and it was about 2.5, 3 feet too long, but I kept the piece because I knew there was probably going to be someplace I could use it in the future. And it's a very hard stainless steel. It's Aquamet 22, which is a proprietary stainless steel that those in the industry will be quite familiar with, and it's tough. I think it took me all of about 7 or 8 minutes to actually cut through this bar. So I wanted to round off the ends a little bit. You really don't want to have a sharp stainless steel bar that you bang your shin on, and I don't own a lathe, so I had to do this the backyard butcher metal worker way, and I'm using a grinding disc here to try and put a chamfer before I round that off. So I switched to a pretty coarse flapper disc for this part, and it actually was much better at chewing off material than the grinding disc was. And these particular discs are from Benchmark Abrasives, and I'll put a link in the description. They're pretty good. You can sort of see the shape that's coming together, sort of as I saw it in my mind, and it just took a while. It was maybe about 20 minutes per end to get it to this point. So now I'm going at it with a finer grit flapper disc just to polish out some of the scratch marks and make it look real pretty. So you've seen me do this lots before. These are adding the battens, or what we call warners, to the hatch openings, and these will support the hatch when it's closed. There's two hatches in our little forecastle, one on each side of the bell pulpit, and the one on the left will be a rope chain locker for our backup anchor, and the one on the starboard side will hose a washdown hose and whatever else we can chuck in there. So this is just bonus footage. This is the supply chain issue that I mentioned at the start of the video, and I've always wanted an all-chain anchor rod for our primary anchor, and there was a pretty good deal on some 5/16 inch high tensile G43 galvanized chain from our local supplier, which is actually an hour away. So the day started out really shitty, really hot, so Lori and I made a trip to Kingston and we dropped $1,400 on some anchor chain. When we got it home, the barrel was too heavy to lift out of the Jeep, so we had to offload the chain here into a tote, and just to be able to get it out of the Jeep, the container itself of the chain was almost 300 pounds. as soon as I can get the Foc'sle done and all the hardware in place, etc., I'll load the chain into the boat. More so just to get it out of the way, and that's where it'll sit until it actually goes in the water someday. I'm pretty sure that as we load the chain into the boat, we'll mark the chain at probably 25-foot intervals or something like that, color-coded zip ties, something like that, and it should work out okay. So as you can see, the boss is here and she's telling me how to do the job, and she thinks I should just lift the bucket up and put it on the deck. Well, I'm not going to be able to lift 300 pounds that high, dear, even as strong as I am. But so I explained to her how the world works, but she's the logical one.
You're the logical one. That's a wrap on this week's activities, folks. I know at times it doesn't look from the outside like much progress has been made, but there's a lot of little things going on. Each and every part of this boat is being custom designed and made, and most of the time totally on the fly, so it has to come out here first. I often spend an inordinate amount of time trying to figure out how to make these things. I look at other YouTube videos and boat building threads and the various forums, etc. for help, but quite often that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Other times it just pops out of my head and I go do it. Lori and I would like to wish all our fellow Canadians a very happy Canada Day long weekend. I hope you stay safe, have fun, and enjoy the holiday. So until next week, please stay well and be happy, everybody. Cheers.